Okay, guys, welcome to this orientation session for the paper APM. My name is Luqman Rafiq, and before I proceed with discussing of the APM, I'm going to give a brief background about myself, that who am I. So my background is that I have been in teaching profession for more than 13 years now, teaching the different courses, including the financial reporting, the performance management, auditing, and the financial management courses. I have been teaching this paper APM for the last 12 years. It was originally the first year of my teaching that I did not teach APM, but the rest of the time I've been teaching the APM as the subject. It's one of those subjects that comes naturally to me. When you would be, inshallah, going ahead with me, going through this paper APM, you would realize this thing, that it's something that comes naturally to me, the performance management. So the paper APM, the advanced performance management, is one of those papers that actually requires you to think, that requires you to generate new ideas, to apply the new ideas to the given scenarios. And when we would be discussing this paper, when we would be going through this paper, you would inshallah be having a look at multiple scenarios, multiple type of situations, that how exactly are the different techniques that could be applied in order to ensure that the organization improves its performance, that the organization is able to achieve its objective, that the organization is able to achieve its goals. So that is all something that you're going to see as soon as we progress along. Now, before I proceed, let me just give you a bit of a guidance that this paper APM, a lot of people think that it would be just like the performance management paper, that having the performance management paper where you have got what? Having the performance management paper where you have got a situation where there is an ample amount of calculation. It's not like this here. You don't have ample amount of calculation. There is a limited calculation, hardly 15 to 20 mark of the calculation that is there in the paper. The rest of the paper is theoretical. The rest of the paper is application based. So it's hardly going to be 15, 20 mark calculation that you would come across, but the rest of the paper is going to be the theoretical paper that you would actually be encountering when it comes to APM. So before wasting a lot of time, let me just go on to the APM, and let me just take you through that what exactly is this APM all about. So I've got in front of me the syllabus for the APM for the September 2022 to June 2023 examinations. So I've got the syllabus from the September 2022 to the June 2023 examinations. And I would just start discussing that what exactly is there in this syllabus. See, before I go on discussing about this syllabus, let me just have a general discussion about what performance management is all about. Because you see, when we would be having a general discussion about what performance management is all about, it would become easy for us to actually understand the APM. So if I talk about the concept of performance management, the concept of performance management is basically simply like this. If you would think of an organization, you would know that there is a vision for every organization. What is the vision? The vision is the ultimate goal. The vision is the ultimate objective. So when we talk about the vision of any organization, what exactly is the vision all about? The vision is the ultimate goal. The vision is the ultimate objective of an organization. The purpose for which the organization is actually established. And when we talk about the concept of performance management, the performance management is basically ensuring that you are able to accomplish. Performance management is all about ensuring that you are able to accomplish the vision of the organization, ensuring that you are able to achieve the vision of the organization. That is what performance management is all about. So when we talk about the vision of the organization, you think of the vision to have many different things. Now, what could the different things that the vision could have? So when we talk about the vision having a different things, so amongst the different things that the visions could have, I'll just take a vision of an airline. Maybe let's say we have got Qatar Airways. The Qatar Airways may say that we want to be the best airline in the world. We want to be the best airline in the world. So now if Qatar Airways is going to say that we want to be the best airline in the world, so what is actually going to happen is that the Qatar Airways would try to make sure that it becomes the best airline. And it's not easy to be the best airline. You got to do a lot of things. You got to do a lot of activities. You got to do a lot of stuff in order to be the best airline. And what could be those different things that you would have to do as an organization in order to be the best airline that's actually ensuring the overall performance of the organization becomes an amazing performance. Like, for example, you would have to think about every single thing that comes between you and your vision of becoming the best airline, whether that be your customers, whether that be your suppliers, whether that be your government, whether that be the operations department of the organization, whether that be the marketing department, whether that be the HR department, whether that be the admin function of the organization, whether that be the advancements of the information technology that the organization has adopted, etc., etc., etc. So there could actually be multiple things that are ultimately going to have an impact upon the organization. So when we think about an organization, when we think about running an organization, we would actually think of managing relationship with a lot of people. What are the lot of people with whom we would be thinking of managing the relationship? They would include the customers, they would include the suppliers, they would include the governments, the operations department has to perform, the marketing department, the distribution department, the HR function, the administration function, the IT function, the finance department, the procurement department, etc., etc., etc. So for you to be the best airline, for you to be the number one, it just does not come so easily. You got to work hard. You got to work on a lot of things. You got to work on a lot of aspects of the organization's performance before you become the number one organization. So basically, what are we gonna do? We're gonna be actually, I repeat, what are we gonna do? We are gonna be actually discussing about this specific scenario. We are going to be discussing about this specific situation, that when it comes to the APM, it's every single aspect that matters to an organization. It's every single thing that matters to an organization. It has to be considered. It has to be taken care of. It has to be kept in mind. So when we would be discussing the APM syllabus, it's not just the HR policies, it's not the IT, it's the marketing, it's the product development, it's the customer satisfaction, it's the supplier relationship, it's the relationship with the government, it's the relationship with the society, it's the management of your finances. Every single thing is examinable at this APM level. So if I could just take you through this APM syllabus, and if I could tell you that what is actually there in the APM. So one thing that I would like to show you people is the relational diagram of APM. Now, if you would look at this relational diagram of APM, you would see that the relational diagram of the APM shows that there is a relationship with the SBL. A lot of you people would be wondering why, and why. This relationship is understandable. This relationship is understandable, but why to have this relationship? Why to have this relationship? A lot of you people would be saying, why to have this relationship between the SBL and the APM? So let me just guide you people through. Let me just guide you through that why to have this relationship. Why is this relationship significant? Why is this relationship important? Because you see, when you talk about the strategic business leader, you talk about the business management. And the performance management includes business management because ultimately you are heading towards the vision of the organization. The business management develops business strategies. The business management teaches you how to take business decisions. And this is all ultimately applicable when you are managing the performance of the organization. So when you are managing the performance of the organization, there are multiple things, there are multiple factors that you got to keep in mind. I repeat, there are multiple things, there are multiple factors which you got to keep in mind when you are actually working on the performance management. Now, so almost 70% of the SBL syllabus is there. So if I talk about the APM syllabus, the 70% of the SBL syllabus constitutes around 40% of the APM. So that means effectively 28% of the APM is SBL. Now, when we talk about the performance management, approximately 40% of this performance management constitutes around 20% of APM. So effectively, or let's say 30% of the APM. So effectively it's 12%, which is this. So 40% of the APM syllabus is effectively SBL and the performance management. And the 60% of it is the rest, is the additional techniques, is the advanced techniques. It's the application of the different techniques. That's what the SBL is all about. Now, let me guide you people through. So basically, when you would be discussing the APM would actually include SBL, would include the PM, every single thing that you study at SBL. A lot of things are here. A lot of things at the PM level are here. Now, what if there is, I was being asked one of the questions by a student that I have not studied SBL. So would I be able to do APM? I said yes. Why? Because APM is a general paper. It's a general paper. You don't have to, it's not a complicated paper. It's a general paper. That's what the APM paper is. It's a general paper. It's something which requires you to apply the general knowledge, which requires you to suggest solutions into the different scenarios and into the different situations. It's not one of those papers that's a bookish knowledge paper. It's not one of those papers that would require you to replicate the information. No, it's given scenarios. What you got to do from the given scenarios is that you got to actually come up with the solutions using the given scenarios in the situations that are given in the given scenarios. So that's what you have to do when it comes to the APM course. So even if you have not studied SBL, I would teach every single aspect of the SBL which is examinable here. Every single aspect at the SBL is that is examinable here has been explained in detail. Now, let's move a bit forward and let's discuss a bit further about the different syllabus area. I could just zoom on to this screen to just give you a bit of an idea about the syllabus areas. You could see there is this strategic planning and control. Then there is this performance management information and systems development and technology, strategic performance measurement, performance evaluation. Then there are these professional skills and then the employability and technology skills. So these are the multiple things that are here. Now, how exactly are these all examinable and what is going to happen? So a lot of you people would have heard about it, but if you have not heard, let me just guide you. The professional skills up till now were examinable at the SBL level only, but now they are examinable at the APM, AFM, and the ATX and the AAA level. For the ATX, it's going to be examinable, I think, from December onwards. Now, what is this professional skills? Earlier, we used to have 4 professional marks, but now it's going to be 20 professional marks in the syllabus. So you would have 80% technical mark and you would have 20 professional marks. And what is that 20 professional marks going to include? So there are 4 professional skills that are being introduced. I'm going to talk about those 4 professional skills in a while. The 4 professional skills that have actually been introduced at this level is the one of them is the communication skill. The other one of them is the professional skepticism. The third one of them is the commercial acumen. And the fourth one of them is evaluation and analytical skills. So these are the 4 things, which is the communication skills, the professional skepticism, the commercial acumen, the evaluation and analytical skills. Now let me just guide you people through with respect to it. Yeah, let me just guide you through all this, that what exactly are these skills going to be. So earlier it used to be only 4 marks, but now 20 marks. That means your technical aspects are going to be 80 marks. These 20 marks are going to be professional marks. Now a question mark is that how would we get these 20 marks? So it's no rocket science. It's no rocket science. It's being very general. It's just that the examiner has defined the criteria that he would actually want to see you people reflect when you will be attempting the paper. Just let me give you a bit of a guidance that how these professional skills are going to be examinable. So for the APM paper, or for the even for the AFM or for the AAA, the section A is basically comprising of a one question of 50 mark, and there is actually going to be 40 technical mark plus 10 professional marks. And for those 10 professional marks, the examiner has said that they are going to allocate the marks for all 4 professional skills, which is the communication, the skepticism, the commercial acumen, and the business evaluation and analytical skills. For the section B, there are basically 2 questions of 25 marks each. And for each of the question, the 20 marks are going to be technical, plus 5 marks are going to be the professional marks. So resultingly, when these 5 marks are going to be professional marks, so in any question, the examiner would mention that they would be looking at you to deliver the 2 or more skills, but it's ideally going to be 2 skills in a question the examiner would be looking at and would be looking to give you mark on. So you would probably be required to reflect 2 professional skills in a question, 2 in another question, maybe the same 2 in both the question, maybe different 2 in both the questions. It could be anything, but it's going to be 2 or more professional skills in the section B questions. Now, so that means over a period of time, you got to prepare, you got to develop the habit of getting the professional marks. Now, how would you actually prepare it? So believe me, one thing that I'm actually very sure about, and what is that? It is, you cannot get the professional mark till the time you have got the technical skills. Because you see, the professionalism comes with technical knowledge. If you don't have the technical knowledge, you cannot have the professionalism. So those professional skills are going to be derived from the technical skills that you would acquire when you would be studying the course. So for you to understand those 80% of the paper, for you to be able to understand, grab that 20 marks, you need to have grip over the remaining 80% of the paper. So a lot of the students I know, as we would progress along, a lot of the students would just keep on asking how to get professional mark, how to get professional mark. So I'm telling you in advance, to get the professional marks, you got to be technically sound first. If you are not technically sound, you cannot get the professional marks. You just cannot get the professional marks. For you to get the professional marks, you got to be technically sound. So coming back to this APM syllabus, let me just take you through. So basically, as I told you, it's actually one of those syllabus that is going to be um, covering different aspects of the organization's performance. If you could see the first area of the syllabus, it's about a strategic planning and control. As I told you, that the performance management is just to ensure that an organization is able to accomplish its vision. And when we talk about the vision is a strategic planning and control that ensures that an organization is able to accomplish its vision. So when we talk about the vision, okay, sorry, I just got disconnected. But anyways, now coming back to it, let me just guide you through. The performance management is what? The performance management is what a management accountant does. And who is the management accountant? Who works for the management? Who provides information to management for the decision making, for the planning, for taking the organization forward. So there's a concept of a strategic management accountant, which is basically the management accounting from the strategic perspective, from the strategic aspect of the organization. That is something that we would be discussing. That is something that we would be talking about. Plus, what happens is that you could see performance hierarchy tells you how the performance goes from the strategic level to the tactical level and to the operational level. How there is a up-down connection of the performance. Then the performance management and control of the organization. Then changes in business structure and management accounting, how the organization's structure change. Like in the modern day, you see virtual organizations. The organizations, they don't have physical existence, still they are existing. Airbnb is an example. Uber is an example. Uh, these organizations, they don't have their physical presences. They don't need large offices. They're just virtually present. And they are one of the top companies in the world. So network structure, matrix organizations, different type of organizations that do exist. So we're going to be talking, and then the environmental, social, and the governmental factors. So first aspect of the syllabus is the strategic planning and control. That what are the factors that you consider at the strategic level before you plan for the organization's growth, before you plan for the organization's success, and how do you actually control the performance of the organization. So that is something that we shall be discussing. Now, if I move forward and if I talk further, there's this performance management information systems and development and technology. You know this thing that as there are advancements in technologies, the world is changing. The method of working is changing. The way of operation is changing. Uh, I am actually also an example. I mean, it's not just me, it's everyone who is just tutoring across the globe. They're all examples of how the IT has transformed. Well, we have benefited more from the COVID, not because of IT, but this is all an example of how the information technological developments, IT developments, it's all more important, which is basically um, the IT developments have actually enabled us to teach across the globe. We are being able to teach across the globe. I'm sitting right now in Pakistan. I'm able to teach a student from Africa. I'm able to teach a student from Malaysia, from Australia, from Nepal, from China, from Hong Kong, from India, from Iran, from Iraq, from Middle East, from Palestine, from Saudi, from Israel, from the West Indies, Jamaica, from the Trinidad Tobago, from Poland, from Kyrgyzstan, from Kazakhstan, from the Ukraine, from United Kingdom, from Ireland. I've been able to teach people across the globe. It's just the adoption of the technology that we have done. We have introduced the learning management systems that allows you to study the whole day round. 24/7 you can have access. We, to an extent, we have incorporated chatbots. The bot actually communicates with you, guides you basic things, guides you about the basic aspects of the business. So generally, if I discuss about all this, so an organization's performance is actually in because of the development, because of the advancements in the technology and all. So what we would be discussing is that we would actually be taking you through that how the different type of technological developments can have the impact on the organization's performance management, whether that be reporting to the management, whether that be the preparation of the reports, etc., that be generating of reports, that be advancements of the organization. So every single thing, how the technology, how the information sources could have an impact on the organization. So we're going to be discussing all of this. Then if I talk about the strategic performance measurement, I mean, if I talk about the strategic performance management, let me just guide you that what is this strategic performance measurement going to be. So you know one thing, that there is something which is called performance measurement, and there is something which is called performance management. Now, what's a performance measurement? What's a performance management? When we talk about the performance measurement, the performance measurement is quantifying the performance. I repeat, the performance measurement is actually quantifying the performance. So whenever you quantify the performance of the organization, that is actually termed as performance measurement. I repeat, whenever you quantify the performance of the organization, that's actually called measurement. And when you quantify the performance, then what you do is that you take the corrective actions. I repeat, what you do is that you take the corrective actions. And when you take the corrective actions, that's actually an action that's being taken for the improvement of the performance. And when the corrective actions are being taken for the improvement of the performance, that's actually performance measurement. I mean, that's actually performance management. So we got to know how to measure the performance. We got to see that how the results of measurement are to be interpreted and are to be used in order to manage the performance of the organization. So that is something that we would have to discuss. That is something that we would have to talk about. So here you would see the different aspects as to how the performance is measured, the different aspects as to how the quality is improved, so and so, so forth. So if you could just have a look at it, and I could just then move forward. So we would see different ways of measuring the performance. That would include the financial performance indicators. That would include the non-financial performance indicators, so on and so forth. Now, the next one of them is a performance evaluation. What do we mean by performance evaluation? Which is basically the different techniques, the alternate techniques, the latest techniques, like the activity-based management, the value-based management. There are lean management. There are different types of performance evaluation techniques that are actually there. So we are going to be discussing about them also. So we're going to be talking about them also. We're going to be discussing about them also. And lastly, you could see the professional skills, which is communication, analysis and evaluation, skepticism, and the commercial acumen. So skepticism, it's not professional skepticism, it's skepticism. It's basically having a questioning attitude. Communication skills is to be able to communicate clearly in a proper manner, present the information properly, choosing the right word, addressing the right audience, things like that. That's what the communication is all about. Then you have got analysis and evaluation. Given set of data is given, and what you got to do is that you got to take out information from that given set of information, and on the basis of that given set of information, you got to prioritize things, you got to interpret the information, you got to identify the areas of problems or the areas where require attention, etc., etc. And lastly, commercial acumen, which is to having a business sense, which is to having a commercial sense. We got to be ethical, but after all, you are commercial, unless and until you are a not-for-profit organization. So you got to think that how the decisions could have a commercial implications, how the decisions could have a commercial impact, and how to make sure that the commercial acumens are actually kept in mind. So that is all something that we actually do. Now, before I go towards conclusion of this class today, let me just guide you that how exactly are we going to be going ahead with this APM course. So what I do is that I go about doing the online blended learning, which is a mixture of live plus recorded classes. So when you get access, when you get registered with us, you get a 24/7 access to the course. You can access the course 24/7. The portal could be accessed. You could view the lectures as many times you wish to watch. You are being added to a WhatsApp group where I am there, my teaching assistant is there, and it's an interactive group where the other students who are registered are also there. Then what actually happens is that in addition to this WhatsApp group, um, there are basically weekly live classes that are conducted. What do I do in those live classes? So I give you a preset agenda. I give you an agenda in advance about the different topics that you got to cover up. And what you actually do is that you go through those topics and you come up in the class. You inquire the questions that you have. I may revise the topic. You inquire about the different questions that you have pertaining to that topic. So that's something that happens. Then in addition to those weekly live classes, what else is there that happens is that there are assignments which you got to submit during the session, and I mark them and I give them back to you. And lastly, the last month before the exam, there are 3 to 5 day live revision sessions. There are 3 to 5 day live revision sessions that I do conduct. These 3 to 5 day live revision sessions that I do conduct, what actually happens with respect to this 3 to 5 day live revision sessions is that these sessions are exam focused. They are actually something which is a revision package for you all. It's a revision package for you all. You're able to revise the course through these 3 to 5 day live revision sessions. So we have got our LMS, the learning management system. Uh, I think that you're able to see that in front of you, and you would see, if I could just click on this is website is scribberacademy.com. If I just search for the APM, we'll have the APM course here. And if there is this APM course that's here, when you're going to open it up, you'll see all the lectures that are there. You'll see all the lectures that are there, and it's all there for you to actually prepare. There are a few topics that are got to be covered up in the live classes. So I've just mentioned that they got to be covered up in live classes. So that's how things are. That's how things are going to operate. So basically, I will have my live class in the coming week, in which I would be discussing the planner. I'll be taking you through some of the key areas of the syllabus, some of the areas of the syllabus also, and I would be discussing in more details how things should be done. So before I leave, before I conclude, just let me know in case if you have got any questions. And one more thing, a lot of tutors would just create a hype that the professional marks have been introduced at the optional level. So believe me, this is nothing. It's just a way of the tutors getting an attention from you. There's nothing to worry about. You got to focus on your technical aspects. The professional skills are going to develop on their own. The professional skills have been there at the SBL level also. So it's no going to be rocket science for you. It's not going to be something extraordinary that you have to do. It's just that you know the technical skills. So you'll be able to get the professional marks by applying the different types of skills. So you don't have to worry about it. And hopefully, inshallah, we're going to work a bit upon that also. But this is no rocket science that you have to worry about. This is simple. This is a straightforward thing. It says that ACCA has now allocated weightage to it, and they're going to be just looking at those aspects more specifically, because they believe that these are the skills which should be applied at the workplace. So the students should actually be given additional marks for it. So it just requires a slight alteration in the technique and nothing more. So in case if any one of you have got any questions, do let me know, or else we're gonna conclude in here. Okay, how do you download the handouts? I'll have to ask our IT team, because there was a recent upgradation which prevented the downloads. I'll just try to make sure that I make them available to you.